I was working on a script for a video the other day, and I needed to know what type of partitioning my disk was using. I tried DF-TAC-H, tried LSB-LK, both of those were to no avail. That's when I remembered the fdisk utility. The fdisk utility is a utility used to manage master boot record or MBR, also known as DOS partitions. That's not something I'm going to be covering today, but I do plan on doing a video on the fdisk utility at some point in time in the future. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss that video. I played with the utility and its options and discovered a single command that will tell you everything you would ever need to know about a disk. This is B from Talk Tech, and today I'm going to show you how to get information about your drive in one command. So stay with me. I've got a favorite asset before I get into that. If you like this type of video and want to see more content like this, make sure you are subscribed and hit the bell button for notifications. Also, don't forget to give the video a like if you like it, give it a dislike if you don't like it. Lastly, let me know what you like, didn't like, or have any comments, questions, or concerns, or emotional outbursts down in the comments below. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, the command that we're talking about today, associated with the fdisk utility. So, I was being a bit hyperbolic. I think that's how you say it, hyperbolic or hyperbolic, however you say the word, when I said it would give you all the information that you'll ever need about a drive. And really in Linux, it's really hard to do that with just a single command without it, just going and going and going. Now, it's not going to give you everything, but what it is going to give you is it's going to give you enough for what you need on a regular basis. Now, the information that it's going to include with its output is going to be the disk identification. So it'll let you know which disk it is. It'll let you know the size of the drive in both gigabytes and bytes. It will let you know the number of sectors and the sector sizes. It will let you know what type of disk model it is. So if you were one of those people that loves to brag about, having the high-end, I don't know, I'm just going to go with Samsung 990 Evo Pro, I think is what one of them are. I don't really care about storage is storage, but some people are about that life. You can brag this way. You can also get the partitioning scheme, which is kind of what I alluded to when I was talking about MBR partitions. You have MBR and GPT. I'll actually be touching on briefly on each of those when I do the fdisk utility, because I'll also be doing a video on gdisk, which is for GPT partitions, which is a different type of partitioning than MBR, a more modern one. It also gives you the disk identifier, or UUID, which is a specific identifier to that disk or partition. And it will also list partitions and information about those partitions. So let's go ahead and actually get into the desktop so we can go ahead and go over this command together. So let me go ahead and put in sudo fdisk tech l, and then we're going to do dev SDA. Now, basically what we're doing here is we're invoking the fdisk utility. We're asking it, say, hey, fdisk utility, can you please list information about this drive? When you're using this command, you do need to make sure that you run it as either root or you run it with the sudo. Now, keep in mind that this one right here is going to give us information about the drive itself. If you want to use a specific partition, then you would, of course, put in the partition number. But we want information about the entire drive, because that's going to give us the most information that's useful. So let's go ahead and hit enter. I'm going to have to put in my password here. All right, perfect. So here's the output. We've got our disk identifier right here. We've got our sizes right here in gigabytes and bytes. We've got the number of sectors. We've got the disk model. This is an ADATA SU800. We've got the number of bytes in a sector, or the sector size rather. We've got the disk partition type, which is in this case is DOS, or that MBR that I was referring to, master boot record. And then here's that disk identifier I mentioned earlier that's unique to this one. Now, one of the things that's useful when it comes to the disk identifier is when you're setting disks to automatically mount on boot, which you do through the etc fs tab file, is this will allow you to identify that specific drive, because the problem is that drives don't always aren't going to always be put in the exact same place every single time. So if you use that identifier, it's going to make it much easier for it to be able to make sure it's identifying the correct drive. And then down here, we've got our partition information. This one's actually got 3 partitions. It's got one extended partition, which is a type of MBR partition that allows you to create logical logical partitions on top of it. So then there's 2 logical partitions on top of that, one for 50 gigs and one for 75 gigs. So yeah, this command is super helpful. And one of the other cool things about it is you could also just use this without designating a specific drive. If you want to just get a list of all your drives, you simply just do that, take out the dev SDA, and voila, you've got information about all your drives, and you can go ahead and scroll through that. It's going to have any USB drives. It'll have logical volume drives. It'll have any other type of drive that's going to be attached to your system. So this command is super, super helpful when it comes to this kind of stuff. So yeah, next time that you want to show off that AliExpress special SSD, you know where to find the information. Don't forget to check out the other videos in the One Command series. If you have already, check out this other video from my channel. Lastly, thank you so much for watching my video, and have the greatest of days.